All right. Relevant. It's not relevant? How is it not relevant? Isn't it what this whole case is about?
Of course it's relevant. It goes to a whole point of motive. I mean, who hired who to kill whom? How could they even argue that it's not relevant?
Well, the prosecutor did. The fact of trying to get into, who's charged and who isn't charged and why they are or why they aren't charged. To me, I think the jury's entitled to hear the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Absolutely. One of the charges is conspiracy to commit murder. This is part of that conspiracy. How could you even begin to argue it's not relevant? I mean, if one of the charges is conspiracy and they are part of that conspiracy, allegedly at least, you absolutely should be able to get that in. I think it's critical to that.
Wait, I agree. I agree. I want to know what the rationale is as far as how do they think they have a case without I mean, of course, we have the murder, but how do you have the rest of the case, as Michael said, without the person that actually did the hiring? I mean, this really does not make sense to me, and I'm wondering what they're waiting for.
Yeah, I think it weakens the prosecution case by not charging the Adelsons here. If this is your theory, and this is what you believe happened, if you have enough evidence to get Magbanawa, who is the go-between, right, between the Adelsons and the two alleged hitmen in this case, if you have enough to get her, don't you have enough? Isn't it the same evidence against her as the evidence against Charlie Adelson?
It is.
The ex-brother-in-law?
Right, but there may be a code of silence right now around the Adelsons. The family who kill together stick together, and there's a kind of a code of silence, and the prosecution and the police will have to try to pierce that. You've already got
But
Karen.
prosecutors have enough here. If they've got the evidence against her, the go-between, right? Don't they have enough evidence against him? Isn't it the same evidence?
I think they're waiting to flip her. I think they want to get a conviction out of her, and I think they want to try to flip her later on against the Adelsons. Because right now they can link Garcia to Magbanawa, right? That's fairly easy to do. And they can link Magbanawa to the Adelsons. But I think going after the Adelsons is a little bit tougher. They're going to have a lot more resources to throw at a case like this. But if they have Magbanawa to throw against them, it makes that case against the Adelsons much, much stronger.
But I think if they wait too long, I think they wait until afterwards, I think it will make it less. It'll weaken the case against the Adelsons, actually, if you don't start going after them now. I think if you wait till after this case, then you might say, I would argue, then why didn't you bring them up in the first place?
I agree with Tiffany. It certainly does. I mean, it just makes them look sad. You've already got the people who fueled and paid the killers to kill Professor Markel. Why not charge them as well? Because if you wait down the road, that's going to be the whole theory that's going to be thrown to the jury by the defense. You didn't charge me then. Why are you charging me now?
And prosecutors in a case like this are, at this point, their case is based part on Luis Rivera, right? He's a Latin king. This is not the greatest witness, but okay, that's who you went to hire to do it. But if you start flipping another witness and now your whole case looks like it's just people who are looking to save their own hide, doesn't that weaken the prosecution and strengthen the case for the Adelsons down the road? If they could just point at the prosecution and say, hey, the prosecution, who are they putting on the stand for you? Convicted murderers. You've got Latin kings. That's who they're doing. The only reason they're making this stuff up against our clients is because they're trying to lessen the amount of time they're going to serve in prison.
Right.
But you wouldn't have to do that if you did it now.
Well, I think, again, that's if they could get Magbanawa to testify against them. But I don't think she's going to yet. I think they're going to wait until after.
I don't think you need her. The same evidence against her is the same evidence against Charlie Adelson.
Absolutely. Again, but it can only help the case if they can get her to testify. Now, look, the worst that happens is she becomes discredited, and they don't believe her, right? But if you don't put her on the stand at all in the first place, it's not any worse than having her totally discredited.
She may testify. Here's the problem the prosecutors have.
Everyone, this is what you do. You charge them all,
Exactly.
and then you get people to flip, because that's when people will start talking. But with having them this holdout, then they feel like, hey, they don't have anything to lose. And so that you have to make it to where people have something to lose and put them in. I mean, I know that's on the prosecution side and helping them, but that would help them with their case.
At the very least, just charge, what's his name? Chuck?
Charlie.
Just charge him.
Charlie, the brother-in-law.
He's the direct link to Karen M. I can't say her
Katie
name.
M.
Katie M. I'm sorry, I can't say her whole name.
Magbanawa. I have trouble with it as well. I'm always looking at what's going to make the strongest prosecution. And if you have a theory, and if you believe this is what happened, and you have evidence, then just put it out there, let the jury make the decision. I think part of what's going on here is that there's a slight fear from the prosecution that the Adelsons, because they have money, and they're from South Florida, where all the fancy lawyers are, they're afraid that those fancy lawyers from South Florida are going to come up to Tallahassee, and you may actually lose a case.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
I mean, if that,
I think that's
I heard-
actually playing part
I
of
heard
why they're
about
not
that theory.
charging the Adelsons right now.
I mean, I heard
They're
about
afraid
that
of fancy
theory,
lawyers
but-
like you guys.
But that's ridiculous. I mean, the state,
Agreed.
that's not your job. The state, you're supposed to, of course, seek the truth and go after who you think actually committed this crime. And if your basis with Catherine is that she was hired and she's the middle person, you have to. I mean, I don't think it's justice if they don't indict or charge one of them, at least Charles. At least.
At least. But today we got a little wink and a nod from the FBI agent that maybe even Donna. Now, Donna is the one who's allegedly signing checks that go to Katie, that go to Catherine McManua, right? So if she's writing the checks and she's the one who is kind of, according to them, wanted to make sure that those kids came down to South Florida, I mean, how do you not charge the man you are saying is hiring everyone? How do you not charge him? So, all right, let's take it from this point. They haven't, okay? So can the defense use that to their advantage in this trial? The fact that the Adelsons, the ones at the top of the food chain here, that get everything in motion, that have the motive, et cetera, haven't been charged. Can the defense use it? If so, how?
I think they can. Part of the problem becomes how much responsibility do they have in the actual murder, right? Were they the ones who were just cashing the checks, pulling the trigger? How much involvement did they have, and how much blame can they really put on them, right? And unfortunately for the defense, I don't think it's that much. I think that they can certainly accuse the prosecution of picking and choosing of who they actually want to prosecute in a case like this.
Right, going after like the poor people.
Sure, and it hurts their credibility, but does it necessarily lessen the guilt of their clients? I think that's going to be a good question.
Luis Rivera testified, and he, in a bone-chilling testimony, he said he saw Sergio shoot and kill Dan Markel twice. Now, unless they can break down the credibility of Luis Rivera...
Why is it that the cooperating witnesses never are the ones who actually pull the trigger? Right? The guy's like the leader of the Latin Kings, one of the leaders of Latin Kings, and he did not pull the trigger.
Of course he did not. That's why he's got immunity. That's why he'll testify against Sergio and protect his hide. But the problem, the jury has to determine is whether he's credible enough, where two men killed a legal scholar right in their backyard. And there's going to be up to, and even if the defense argues, well, it's, even though they did it, they still didn't go after the matriarch of the family, Donna Adelson, or the rich guys. How is that relevant to the jury? The jury's sitting there, they've already heard him testify that Sergio did it. And he was part of it. I mean, you've got the two guys there.
Do we know why Wendy got immunity?
No, I'm trying to figure that out as well. So we've got two defendants, Sigfredo Garcia and Catherine Magbanwa. I can't say it either. Magbanwa. Magbanwa. Is that how you're going with it? All right, good. All right, we got a lot more to talk about. We'll be back right after this.
For more than 150 years, Brinks has been trusted with keeping your money safe. Now, Brinks introduces the Brinks Prepaid MasterCard to help protect what matters most to you. When security matters most to your family, you can trust Brinks.
Managing a family is a big responsibility.
They rely on us, and we rely on Brinks.
When having confidence that your money is safe matters most, Brinks can help. And integrity and trust are hallmarks of Brinks' heritage.
I trust Brinks to help me do the right things with my money. And my family trusts me.
When getting paid faster matters most, you can trust Brinks' direct deposit. Get your paycheck or government payments up to 2 days faster.
Direct deposit puts our money in our hands faster than a paper check.
And Brinks helps us spend responsibly. We can track our purchases and pay bills online.
The Brinks difference? All the simple to use budgeting tools that make us better at managing our money.
And doing a better job gives us peace of mind.
Call now or go online to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. When having control of your money matters most, you can trust Brinks. Just load money onto your card account or use direct deposit. Shop at your favorite stores or online, pay bills, buy groceries.
With Anytime Alerts, I get a text message every time I use my card, so I can keep track of my balance.
Call now or go online to order your Brinks prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. And with a qualifying direct deposit, we'll upgrade you to Brinks Preferred, including a savings account that can earn up to a 5% annual percentage yield. Even choose your card design. Now it's your turn to experience the Brinks difference. Get paid up to 2 days faster with Brinks prepaid MasterCard. Get the peace of mind you deserve with MasterCard's zero liability protection. For more than 150 years, Brinks has helped people build better lives by protecting what matters most. Call right now to order your Brinks prepaid MasterCard. Call 1-800-807-3725. There's no cost to order. Call now.
Help! When you fall and can't get help, you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-4841. That's 1-800-518-4841. Call now. 1-800-518-4841.
Let the back-breaking struggle begin. The toughest job of the year is back. But this year, you can have the advantage with the amazing Cyclone Rake. The Cyclone Rake is the all-in-one property cleanup machine that turns fall cleanup into a ride in the park. It hitches to your riding mower and easily vacuums and mulches anything on the ground. In a few easy hours, you can do the work of a 5-man crew, taking your yard from this to this. And most amazing of all, when you're done, the Cyclone Rake folds up flat and hangs right on the wall. It takes no more storage space than a push mower. Backed by the best warranty in the industry and the unmatched Cyclone Rake 1-year money-back guarantee, there's nothing to lose but all those leaves. Make this the year you turn autumn into your favorite season. Call today to order or to get your free information kit, or go to cyclonerake.com.
All right, folks, we got a lot to talk about here. A lot happened inside the courtroom as things are winding down. We're in the defense case, and the big question tonight is whether or not Ahmad Banawa will testify tomorrow, right? She's got the night to think about it, and maybe not tomorrow. But when she was arrested, initially, the FBI showed up, and they showed up in full force, and that came up today in court. Take a listen.
You go down to South Florida. You have a team of law enforcement with you, right?
When?
For the arrest of Capper.
There's agents in Miami who assisted me, yes. I did not take a team with me.
Investigator Isom was with you?
Yes.
There were other law enforcement there?
From Miami, correct.
All right. When I'm saying take, I'm saying to the location where you arrested Capper McBanner.
Yes, that's correct.
You were in multiple cars,
yes.
Right? Guns were out?
They were doing surveillance on her, yes.
Scared her so much she urinated herself?
I'm not aware of that.
You were present with Isom, right?
When? At the arrest?
Correct.
Yes.
And the reason why you guys went from up here down to South Florida was because you wanted her to cooperate.
That's correct.
Objection.
Overruled. You have this big show of force, slap the cuffs on her, and want to talk to her, right?
That is not the reason for the big show of force.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, right?
Exactly.
Not the Federal Bureau of Intimidation.
Mr. DeCoste. Jury disregard Mr. DeCoste's comments. I'm not going to warn you again, Mr. DeCoste. We're going to start having something further than that.
Understood, Your Honor.
The Federal Bureau of Intimidation. All right. So, are we shocked that she has not taken any sort of a deal? Because it seems like prosecutors in this case, if they're going to give a Latin king 7 years, just 7 years for his role in this murder, she would get a sweetheart deal too, wouldn't she?
She should. She should. But I mean, again, it's almost arbitrary sometimes how they hand these deals out. And, a reasonable person would think she should get a better deal than 7 years, especially if he's actually driving out there, with the other guy to actually commit the murder.
Right, and
She
to
should be
get the
getting a lot
gun and
less.
to, exactly.
Right.
So she hasn't. How surprising is that, number one?
Well, we don't know. Has she been offered it and turned it down?
Yeah, she's turned down a deal. That's why this whole thing's been delayed. They've been trying to get her to take a deal, and she's not.
That deal may be something that, as a defense attorney, may be like, no, it's too egregious, and we're going to roll the dice based on what they have. She's pretty much, to me, the glue that holds everything together. So I agree that they should give her a really good deal. I don't know why she may not get immunity.
How difficult is it sometimes to get a client to take a deal? This is someone who obviously has never had any, interaction. Like the Latin king, he was already serving time for racketeering. Okay, Luis Rivera. So I understand, he can okay, 7 years, okay, not so bad. I'm getting some, time that's okay, not so bad when it comes to murder. But for someone who's never been part of the criminal justice system, how difficult is it to get them to accept the fact that they're going to have to serve time behind bars?
It's never it's never an easy thing. I mean, for anyone to tell them that they're going to have to do time behind bars, especially if they've never done it at all, I think part of it comes down to explaining the risks that you go to in going to a trial. And she has got some real serious risks in this trial.
It's called life in prison.
Exactly.
And she's got young children too.
I'm just wondering whether she's getting some kind of protection from the Adelson. I mean, maybe is she banking and she putting all her eggs in a basket with somehow getting some kind of protection from Adelson? Is there some kind of underlying arrangement she has with the son that he's bankrolling the attorney, and possibly that she's saying, look, if I don't spill the beans of you, you're going to make sure I have the best possible defense, and that's why she's not taking any deals. Why should she have a conviction record? They've already got the two guys who were part of the murder. That's the only reason, and then of course they've got Wendy Adelson signing checks and giving her money. So maybe she's just decided to keep quiet, because she is the barrier between the prosecution and what they can get from the Adelsons.
What do you think happens if she's convicted? Do negotiations open up again?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
She'll flip the next day.
Yes. And the
No question
protection's
about
gone.
it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Does she get the sweetheart deal at that point? Do the rules change? Because they need her just as much. It's not like their need for her has gone down from the prosecution perspective.
I don't think she'll get a sweetheart deal, but now she'll be facing hard time. Now the terms might be that what will it take to keep me out of prison, and what will it take to make sure I'm home with my kids? And she might lose a better deal now. I mean, she might get a better deal now than she would once she's convicted.
Yeah,
I agree.
she's
Oh, of
still
course.
young too. She's young,
Right.
a young mother.
And and we know that prosecutors hold against, if you go all the way through a trial and then you're convicted, they're not going to give you.
But they
the
still have
same
another
deal.
trial that they have to win, which is the most important trial, which is against the Adelsons. So,
Right.
I mean, the way I'm looking at it, the prosecution need for her, at least their belief in their need for her, does not change after this trial. It's just as high. It
Right.
doesn't lessen.
But then if you're convicted, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
But then if you're convicted, you're in a different position now. Right now, she's not convicted. But once you're convicted, then you have to really try to negotiate whatever time down that you can, because you lost that. You lost that in your hand. You don't have that anymore. You don't have that card to play anymore because you're convicted.
But they want the Adelsons.
Do they? Because I can't tell that they want the Adelsons in the way that they're going about it.
At this point, nobody
But
knows.
how
what
do you
they
do
want.
a murder for hire prosecution without going after the people who hired the alleged murderers? That has to be the end game for the prosecution here.
Absolutely.
If they don't ever charge the Adelsons, I think, is that a disgrace?
It is a
Oh,
disgrace
absolutely,
because the
100%.
people who can bankroll the murder can get away with it. That's the story.
Looks like
of
there's
South
two
Florida.
levels of justice here. If you
right.
never charge the Adelsons, because this now coming back to this point, I know I'm saying it a lot, but it's because I believe in it. The case against Catherine M. is the same case against Charles Adelson. It's the same evidence.
Well, again, I want to disagree slightly because
What's the difference?
Because she has a stronger connection to Garcia. Okay, she's the middleman. I mean, in a way, she goes more towards Adelson's case than she does towards Garcia's case. And I think maybe she had a great motion to sever her case from his case, and maybe she should have done that, right? But I'll tell you, if they brought in the Adelsons, they would have had a motion to sever, and I think they would have had a good shot at succeeding on it. Their trials would not have been one giant trial together. I think they would have ended up having separate trials. I do think so.
But at least they could come in court and say, yeah, they've all been charged. Not the defense argument right now, which is, well, you're not charging these folks. Why aren't you charging these folks?
Now that
Why
I do
not?
agree.
It would be more difficult for the state also if they convict Katie M. and then they put her on the stand, and then her credibility will be shot because the defense is going to cross-examine her on the fact that she's taking a deal for her testimony.
And if she wants to ever have the opportunity to take a deal, she better not testify, because then she's no use to the prosecution if she testifies tomorrow. All right, a lot more to talk about. I know it's a complicated case, so when we come back, we're going to try to simplify it for you. Explain it from point A to point B to point C. This entire case made easy. Next.
This is Court TV.
The network designed for true crime.
Not justice!
He had to shoot to defend himself.
Something was not right here.
What does the jury need to find the truth?
It's a very stressful situation.
We are bringing you gavel-to-gavel coverage.
You'll see and hear all the evidence.
We heard 911 calls.
I need help now!
The truth will always prevail.
This is Court TV.
Your front row seat
To justice.
Attention firefighters. Certain chemicals in firefighting foams are linked to certain cancers. Military firefighters and civilian firefighters assigned to airports are at a higher risk of exposure because foam is used to put out jet fuel fires. If you or a loved one are a firefighter who used these foams and later developed kidney, testicular, or pancreatic cancer, you may be entitled to compensation.
Call Sokolov Law, 1-800-485-8509 for a free legal consultation. 1-800-485-8509. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how you can get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
For more than 150 years, Brinks has been trusted with keeping your money safe. Now, Brinks introduces the Brinks Prepaid MasterCard to help protect what matters most to you. When security matters most to your family, you can trust Brinks.
Managing a family is a big responsibility.
They rely on us, and we rely on Brinks.
When having confidence that your money is safe matters most, Brinks can help. And integrity and trust are hallmarks of Brinks' heritage.
I trust Brinks to help me do the right things with my money. And my family trusts me.
When getting paid faster matters most, you can trust Brinks' direct deposit. Get your paycheck or government payments up to 2 days faster.
Direct deposit puts our money in our hands faster than a paper check.
And Brinks helps us spend responsibly. We can track our purchases and pay bills online.
The Brinks difference? All the simple-to-use budgeting tools that make us better at managing our money.
And doing a better job gives us peace of mind.
Call now or go online to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. When having control of your money matters most, you can trust Brinks. Just load money onto your card account or use direct deposit. Shop at your favorite stores or online, pay bills, buy groceries.
With Anytime Alerts, I get a text message every time I use my card, so I can keep track of my balance.
Call now or go online to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. And with a qualifying direct deposit, we'll upgrade you to Brinks Preferred. including a savings account that can earn up to a 5% annual percentage yield. Even choose your card design. Now it's your turn to experience the Brinks difference. Get paid up to 2 days faster with Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. Get the peace of mind you deserve with MasterCard's zero liability protection. For more than 150 years, Brinks has helped people build better lives by protecting what matters most. Call right now to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. Call 1-800-807-3725. There's no cost to order. Call now.
The murder of Florida State law professor Dan Markel is a very complicated tale involving a lot of people and a lot of moving parts. And it's a little confusing. I understand that. So we put together a piece here to try to break it down piece by piece, point by point, so you kind of understand Dan Markel, who he was, why prosecutors say he was allegedly murdered, and who's involved, and how all of these people who are involved are connected to one another. Let's take a look.
Florida State law professor Dan Markel was married to a fellow lawyer, Wendy Adelson, in 2006. Together, they had 2 children and lived in Tallahassee, Florida. After 7 years of marriage, Dan and Wendy split up and were divorced. After the divorce, they continued to battle in court regarding custody of their 2 children. Wendy wanted to relocate the children to South Florida, where her parents, Donna and Harvey, and her brother, Charlie, lived. The family had a successful dental practice near Fort Lauderdale known as the Adelson Institute, where all 3 worked. During the custody battle, Dan filed a motion in February of 2014 to prevent his ex-mother-in-law, Donna, from having unsupervised visits with her grandchildren. On July 18, 2014, Dan dropped his children off at school, went to the gym, and pulled into his garage around 11 a.m. While still in his car, Dan is shot and killed. A neighbor says he saw a Prius pull out of the driveway after the shots were fired. Prosecutors say it was these 2 men, Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia, who were in that Prius and killed Dan. But why would these 2 men drive almost 500 miles from South Florida to Tallahassee to kill a law professor? Prosecutors say they were paid $100,000 by Wendy Adelson's family to commit the murder. Here's how prosecutors say these 2 men are connected to the Adelsons. Luis Rivera, a member of the Latin Kings gang, grew up with and was friends with Sigfredo Garcia. Sigfredo Garcia was in a relationship and had children with Katie Magbanua. Magbanua, a former nightclub bottle girl, had also dated Charlie Adelson, Wendy Adelson's brother. Prosecutors say Charlie enlisted the help of Katie to hire Garcia and Rivera to commit the murder. They claim payments were made from the family's business to Katie by handwritten checks signed by Donna Adelson, as well as significant amounts of cash.
All right, so that's the breakdown of the entire story. And it's a tragic story because there are 2 children. And those 2 children, you think about it, they end up being the alleged motive for this entire plot that involves so many people and so many families. So at this point, you've got KDM, you've got Sigfredo Garcia, who are on trial here. Luis Rivera has already pleaded guilty, got a deal for 7 years. He is now testifying against these 2 defendants. Yet at the top of this entire plot, the Adelsons, none of them have been charged with anything. So the question still remains in this case, will they be charged with something? What impact does this case have on that trial? And why not just indict everyone if that's what you believe actually happened in this case? So as we follow this entire story, is that a story that makes sense? I mean, it's a little bit complicated, but when you break it down piece by piece, you can follow it. Can a jury follow it to the point of conviction in this trial?
It'll be difficult without having indicted even one of the Adelsons. That would be very, because what the whole purpose of that whole explanation is that the Adelsons bankrolled a murder for hire in order to protect their daughter and their grandchildren. So without indicting or pointing fingers at the Adelson, what motive would KDM or Banua have to tell the father of her children, to call his friend Luis and then go all the way to Tallahassee to kill Dan Markel? Those dots are not connecting.
I think that her connection is lessened without having one of the Adelsons come in and testify against her. And I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think that Rivera testifying is going to be enough to get Garcia and Magbanois convicted. Now, as far as if you're going to try to bring in the Adelsons in one big trial, if that did happen, I really don't know if Rivera testifying is going to be enough. I don't think it would be. I think that they really need Magbanois to go and testify against the Adelsons. I think that is the critical connection for the state to prosecute the Adelsons, because I really don't know how much Rivera knows about the connection between the Adelsons and Magbanois.
And what about the money? The money, the checks that were written from, was it Donna? And how do they explain that? You know, on the defense side, I'm going to argue that my client didn't have any knowledge of the funds. They don't know where they came from. How will they get that in, that those funds came from the Adelsons? And then if they do, you're not going to convict them. So that really looks crazy on your part for not bringing the ringleader or anyone that has anything associated with the case. Again, I mean, I'm just repeating what I said earlier. I just think it's ridiculous not to bring everyone in on this case.
Okay, so in this case, it's a death penalty case against Garcia. And prosecutors' theory, because they believe the Latin king who cooperated, that it was Garcia who pulled the trigger, seeking the death penalty against him. So prosecutors believe that this entire story, this entire theory was hatched by the Adelsons. Should it be a death penalty charge and case against them when and if they are charged for this? If they're bankrolling it, if they're doing the hiring, if they have the motive, if they're the entire reason this murder took place, like prosecutors are saying, shouldn't that be a death penalty case too?
I think there's a difference between writing a check and pointing and pulling the trigger.
What's the difference? If you pay for it, you're paying someone to pull the trigger, it's the same thing.
Arguably, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the state would argue if they want to seek the death penalty. But I do think that there is a difference, a distinction between the two.
Which is worse? Which is worse from your perspective?
I think pulling the trigger, because
it's worse than being the person who is paying someone to pull the trigger.
The trigger wouldn't be pulled, but for the person paying.
There should be no difference in culpability, whether you bankrolled to kill Dan Markel or whether you actually took the money to kill Dan Markel. That makes you all on the same level playing field. The fact that they made a distinction between Magbuna of KDM's pursuing only life without parole against her, that already shows that there's some kind of shades of difference, even the way the prosecution is looking at the defendants.
So let's look at, ultimately we want justice in our system, right? So at this point, you've got the people with all the money who have not been charged. And the people who don't have money have been charged.
Right.
And those are the facts. And you look at the alleged money that was paid. What did they buy? What did they get? I mean, there's evidence that they went out and one of them bought a 1984 Monte Carlo. That was my first car. 1984 Monte Carlo.
Is it valuable today?
Trust me, it wasn't even valuable back then. Okay. That thing broke down. But anyway, I mean, these are folks without money. And you've got the Adelsons, this business that they're at, the Adelson Institute, worth millions. You've got Charlie driving around with his Ferrari down in South Florida.
Right, and that's what we talk about.
And these people are not charged, but the other people are. What does that say about what's going on here, really going on here? Because I'm a little bothered by this.
Oh yeah,
So there's privilege.
We're going to treat people differently depending on their socioeconomic status. If you're a rich South Florida person wheeling around in your Ferrari and Lamborghini, we'll give you special treatment versus the individuals who are driving 1984 Monte Carlos.
To me, it's scary.
Well, I agree in one respect, but on the other hand, you have to look at it from a procedural perspective, right? I mean, what if you did charge them, and then they all filed speedy trial demands, and they had their trial severed, and you don't have Magbanois to testify against them? what do you have? You have a really weak case. And I think that's dangerous for them.
Is it?
Well, I don't think it's weak. I don't think it's weak because the case hinges on, I mean, it had to start somewhere.
If the
There's a
case against
catalyst.
them is weak, then the case against everyone
Right.
else here is weak, right?
No,
because
no,
this is
no,
all
no,
part
no.
of the same case.
No, because think about what's the biggest piece of evidence that the state has is Rivera. And who is he really testifying against? Garcia and Magbanois. But how much does he really know about the Adelsons? How much could he really testify if they tried to use him in that trial?
But doesn't the word why enter into any of this? Like, why would this guy drive almost 500 miles to kill a law professor? It wasn't a robbery.
Right.
He didn't even know him. I mean, the connection to me is so common sense obvious that I don't think that case against the Adelsons is any weaker than this case.
Right. But we would agree that if you had Magbanois testify, it would be a much stronger case against them.
Right. And I do agree with you about the severing and what could happen, but that still would negate me as a prosecutor bringing them in.
It would make it a more complicated case. The tapestry of the case is much bigger. There's so many more layers, but it won't make it
It's
more
like trying a
complicated.
mob case, is what it's like. And guess what? Prosecutors try mob cases.
Without a doubt. But again, what happens if they filed that speedy and they went first and you didn't have Magbanois like you would if you had secured a conviction against her in the first place?
So you're banking on the fact that she's definitely going to take a deal at some point.
100%. They need her. I think she's critical to their case.
This bothers me. Now here's the question: can this be used by the attorneys in this case to appeal to a jury? Almost, it's nullification, but not quite nullification, and pointing out who got charged and who didn't get charged, and what the people look like who got charged and what the people look like who didn't get charged, and how much money the people that got charged have or don't have, and how much money the people who didn't get charged have. Is that an argument that a defense attorney might make in a closing here, in trying to reach the jury somehow in this case?
I think it might have more of an impact at the death versus life phase rather than at the guilt or innocence stage. Because if the jury believes Rivera and believes that Garcia did shoot and kill Dan Markel, Dan Markel will be found guilty. Excuse me, not Dan Markel. Garcia will be found guilty.
Right.
And then at the life or death penalty phase, that particular argument may go a long way, but saying that he's just a stooge in the whole case.
But I think that argument could help Catherine on her trial, her actual trial. That could help her. And I would use that to show that she's pretty much a victim as well and being played in the justice system since she did not cooperate with the state and she does not have the same bankroll and the same privilege as the Adelsons, that she's being treated she's being mistreated and that she's not given the same, I would say, deference as the Adelsons.
If she takes the stand, should she be permitted to talk about the deals she was offered and the deals she refused? To say something like, oh yeah, prosecutors came to me, they offered me whatever it was, maybe it was 10 years, maybe it was 7 years, but I said no because I would have to lie in order to get that deal. Should she be allowed to testify to that?
Defense might bring it out, but the prosecution is going to try to
they're going to
object vehemently.
Well,
is it fair, though? Is it fair?
I think that they'd be able to get out that a deal was offered, but the specifics of it, I don't think they're going to be able to get in legally speaking. So, I mean, they could say that you were offered a deal, and you turned down that deal, didn't you? Because you're, in fact, innocent. I mean, you could go along that, but if you were to get down to the specific amount of time, I don't think that would be allowed.
All right, we've got a lot more to talk about. How about those defense opening statements to kind of outline the case for the defense? We'll have our own defense experts analyze that when we come back.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll. Whether for yourself or someone you love, call the number on the screen now. Call now.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. The Center for Medicare Services has officially authorized new benefits Medicare Advantage plans may include. Plans may now include private home aids and rides to medical appointments. Most plans also include dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. To get the benefits you deserve, call the Medicare Coverage Helpline now.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. I called the Medicare Coverage Helpline and they instantly advised me that I wasn't getting all the benefits I deserve. They explained I could get a plan that includes dental and prescription coverage, as well as the new coverage for private home aids and rides to medical appointments. If you want to find out what you deserve, call the number on your screen now. It's free. You'll be happy you called, I guarantee it.
Call to see if you can save money and get more benefits now. Don't delay. Call now. It's free. Call 1-800-497-5903. That's 1-800-497-5903 now.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you or someone you love used Roundup and were diagnosed with cancer, call the number on your screen now. Don't wait. There may be time deadlines to file a claim.
Call 800-549-6270. That's 800-549-6270.
Help!
When you fall and can't get help,
Help!
you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-4841. That's 1-800-518-4841. Call now. 1-800-518-4841.
7 years. 7 years in Florida State Prison. That's what Luis Rivera got in exchange for his participation in a first-degree murder case. And who gave him a 7-year deal offer? The prosecution.
7 years for murder? Is that the norm? Or is that desperation? Let's bring back in our think tank. 7 years for a murder.
Well, I'm wondering whether he has other open matters that, for 7 years for this case might not mean a lot to him. He may have other problems.
Well, he was already serving 12, so they just added 7 more to that.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be doing some time. He's not getting out for a while. I think they realize
Right, but
that.
the 12 was a given. The 7 additional was for the murder.
Yeah, but he's going to be doing 19 years in prison. And after he rats, who knows whether or not he's actually going to make it out after 1 or 2.
So is that a normal deal, or is that a super, let's put some perspective on it. Is this super sweetheart deal for a murderer?
It is a terrible number for a murder charge or a murder conviction.
Murder for hire.
Right,
yeah.
it is. It is awful. But if you look at the individual who's receiving it, if he's already in the prison system, if he's already going to be doing some hard time, and you're just tacking on more years to it in exchange for getting testimony to get even other murderers, then, in the big picture, it might be the best deal the prosecution can get.
I'd agree.
19 years is the total time he'll be serving. All right, let's take a listen to more of the defense opening statement. And a lot of where they're going is at Luis Rivera.
Their focus in this case is on the Adelsons. Donna Adelson, Charlie Adelson, Wendy Adelson. That's who their real targets are. And so what do? They go after the low-hanging fruit. They go to Luis Rivera, who was charged with first-degree murder and subject to the death penalty. And they tell him, we're going to cut you a deal where you only have to serve 7 more years. 7. So what does he do? He sits with his lawyer, Chuck Collins. And you're gonna see a tape. You're gonna see an interview that the government's gonna play where law enforcement officers are sitting at a table with Luis Rivera and his attorney, Chuck Collins. And it's gonna be considered his initial statement, okay? And they're gonna ask him things back and forth, and you'll see that Luis Rivera gives a statement that in essence becomes the prosecution's parrot. He says pretty much everything that coincides with their strategy, with their theory of the case. What they don't tell you and what they don't show you is that before the video camera turns on, law enforcement is in one room, Luis Rivera and Chuck Collins are in another. And the detectives go not to Luis Rivera, but to Chuck Collins to exchange questions, to prepare Luis Rivera for when the lights turn on, to make sure that your story fits, that your story is in unison with what the government wants you to say. They don't show you that, but you're going to hear about it.
Is that a problem? Is that a problem in this case? And in any case where you have a cooperating witness who obviously is trying to save his own hide, he's saving many, many years of potential death penalty off the table, life in prison off the table, and 7 years on the table. So how trustworthy is his testimony, and how much of it is based upon what prosecutors want him to say versus what I want to hear, which may be what prosecutors want him to say, which is the truth?
It's always a problem. Whenever you have somebody flip, you have that image of the rat jumping the sinking ship, right? And it's a hard thing to get over for the state to say that, oh no, he's definitely just doing this out of the goodness of his heart, not just because he's getting a good deal out of it, right? And that you should believe him. He's absolutely trustworthy. I mean, there's a very real image of him trying to save his own skin, and by doing so, maybe lying.
If the jury doesn't like Rivera at the end of the day, if they don't believe everything, like the fact that he was not the trigger man and had nothing to do with pulling the trigger in this case, could that lead to not guilty verdicts here?
Well,
is that possible?
It's possible if the jury believes that that's the only evidence that the state has against Garcia. If the only evidence they have against Garcia, placing Garcia at this murder scene, is Rivera, then, and they don't believe him because they think he's lying, they think he's doing it to save his own hide, they're thinking that maybe he was the only one out there and that in fact he was the trigger man. Yeah, that could be a problem for the prosecution. The jury could go do a complete 180 and acquit Garcia.
You sound just like the defense attorney. Take a listen, folks. That's almost exactly what she said. Take a listen.
The only person that can put Sigfredo Garcia at the scene, the only person who can tell you that Sigfredo Garcia got out of the car and purportedly shot Dan Markel is who? It's the guy who got the 7 years. The guy who got the deal of a lifetime.
Eerie.
Yeah. But it's the obvious. I mean, it's not the super obvious, but it's what this case is all about. And that's why when you talk about getting another witness to turn state's evidence, I go, ew, as a prosecutor. I hate these witnesses. They dirty me up, and it's my credibility's on the line that I've got to put this person on the witness stand and give them a deal because I'm going after someone else. That's why I would just try them now. And you know what? If the jury doesn't believe it beyond a reasonable doubt, it is what it is. But at least I did my job. I just hate all of these deals.
But did you really do your job if you didn't put up all the evidence? And she is a key piece of evidence.
Mm-hmm. She's a co-conspirator. You look at her as evidence. I look at her as a murderer.
Oh, and that's why she's being tried. I mean, make no mistake, she's going to do time. She's going to do time no matter what. But the question is, do you sacrifice every other defendant, the whole case against them, because you just want to prosecute her?
To me, it's not about sacrificing. It's about taking everyone who I believe is involved and charging them and trying the case, and the jury, and I'll put on all the evidence I have, and the jury says what they say.
Even if your case isn't as good without her.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this is a good case for the defense.
I think it's a good case, but even if it's not
for the defense right now, it's a good case because the prosecution's not doing their job and not bringing in the key players. I mean, how can you have a conspiracy to commit murder without all of the co-conspirators? It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't add up. And I'm going to argue that on the defense side. I mean, this is a great case on the defense side, and if Garcia gets off, then the state really, they really dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah,
that I agree with.
That's the risk they're taking.
But my philosophy as a prosecutor always was, you try the case, put the facts, put the evidence in there, and the jury makes the decision. You win some, you may lose some. I just think there are some prosecutors that are too afraid to lose sometimes. That they don't want a loss, like someone's keeping score, like you're not going to get paid at the end of the week because you lost a trial. And for the head of the office, if it's a game of politics, that makes me even more angry if you're worried about being reelected or whatever because you lost a high-profile case. You got to try the case. That's your job. Do your job.
Now, the Adelsons aren't big campaign contributors to any particular prosecutor in that area, are they?
No, they're only 500 miles away.
Oh.
Right.
But maybe that should be investigated. No,
Okay.
no evidence of that whatsoever in this case that we know about. All right, we got a lot more to talk about tonight. You know, there's news all over the place, including from the Amber Geiger trial. And there's been a lot of fallout, a lot of breaking news today. As you know, one of the witnesses in that case was murdered. We've got an update on that, as well as Judge Kemp has spoken publicly about what happened in court, the hugs, the Bible, all of that. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
Welcome to Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. And we're doing what we do best and diving straight into our trial.
You have to look at everything in this case.
He murdered our daughter. Did you take the hose and squeeze it?
Guilty on all counts.
This is true crime all the time.
And you're not gonna miss a moment of it. That was really eye-opening.
This is what I love to do.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched over 1,200 annuities and summarized the rates and benefits of annuities from financially strong insurers. Again, that's Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free, for calling Annuity General today. Supplies are limited. Call now.
Call 800-754-0927. That's 800-754-0927.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll. Whether for yourself or someone you love, call the number on the screen now. Call now.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. The Center for Medicare Services has officially authorized new benefits Medicare Advantage plans may include. Plans may now include private home aids and rides to medical appointments. Most plans also include dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. To get the benefits you deserve, call the Medicare Coverage Helpline now.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. I called the Medicare Coverage Helpline, and they instantly advised me that I wasn't getting all the benefits I deserve. They explained I could get a plan that includes dental and prescription coverage, as well as the new coverage for private home aids and rides to medical appointments. If you want to find out what you deserve, call the number on your screen now. It's free. You'll be happy you called, I guarantee it.
Call to see if you can save money and get more benefits now. Don't delay. Call now. It's free. Call 1-800-497-5903. That's 1-800-497-5903 now.
I managed like 4 Airbnbs, 2 in LA, 1 in Atlanta. I'm trying to get 1 in Dallas now, so that'll be the 4th one. That's what I do now.
And Joshua, you've had some issues in the past with police officers in the criminal justice system, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in 2011, you had a misdemeanor theft conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then in 2016, you had a possession of controlled substance conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
That was a state jail felony?
Yes, ma'am.
That's Joshua Brown. You remember him from the Amber Geiger case, was a neighbor of Botham Jean, who lived in the same apartment complex and testified very emotionally. There was a moment where the judge had to excuse the jury because he actually broke down. And Joshua Brown, former Division I football player, kind of a tough guy, but getting very emotional, talked about Botham Jean singing gospel in the morning, and then he finally met him. So tragically, after the trial, after the sentencing and everything that happened in the courtroom, he was shot and killed outside his apartment complex in the parking lot. Now, he was no longer living in the same apartment complex that he was at before. He had subsequently moved. So it was a different apartment complex than where Botham Jean was shot and killed. But the murder sparked a lot of controversy in Dallas. There were a lot of folks on social media who were wondering, what's going on here? Who's investigating this case? Well, it was the Dallas police who took up the investigation. A lot of folks not happy about that in Dallas, but Dallas police did do an investigation and today had a news conference giving us an update on some suspects and arrests that have been made. Let's take a listen.
My name is Avery Moore. I'm the Assistant Chief to the Dallas Police Department. I'm over the Criminal Investigation Unit. So first, let me thank you for coming out on such short notice. I appreciate it. City of Dallas appreciates it, as well as the Dallas Police Department. As you know, Joshua Brown was shot and killed October the 4th of 2019. He was shot and killed at 4606 Cedar Springs in Dallas, Texas, which is why we gathered here today. First, I would like to acknowledge Joshua's family. We in the Dallas Police Department grieve with you. We understand how hard it is and how much pain is related to losing a loved one. No family member should have to suffer that kind of pain. I want you to know that the Dallas Police Department is working diligently on your behalf to solve this case. It's our policy that we pursue all murder suspects. We pursue them aggressively, we pursue them thoroughly with the hope of bringing closure to the family. As you know, I've said it before, that we value human life. We understand that there are some in the community that do not, but the Dallas Police Department does value human life. Through the dedicated work of my detectives, we have identified 3 suspects in the Joshua Brown murder. Jacarius Mitchell, black male, 20 years of age. Michael Mitchell, black male, 32 years of age. Thaddeus Green, black male, 22 years of age. According to suspect Jacarius Mitchell, all 3 suspects came from Alexandria, Louisiana, to purchase drugs from Joshua Brown. Thaddeus Green was the facilitator. He's the one that contacted Joshua Brown. As they drove to the offense location, Thaddeus Green gets out of the vehicle, has a conversation with Joshua Brown, which escalates into physical altercations. At which time, Jacarius Mitchell gets out of the vehicle and he states that Joshua Brown orders him back into the vehicle and shoots him in the chest. As he's laying in the vehicle, he hears 2 more gunshots. He says that Thaddeus Green shot Joshua Brown 2 times. According to the autopsy report, Joshua Brown was shot 2 times in his lower body. One was a through and through, and the other entered his body just below the spine, traveled upward, damaging vital organs. Thaddeus Green also took the backpack that Joshua Brown had, as well as the gun that Joshua Brown had. Michael Mitchell was the driver. He dropped Thaddeus Green off at an unknown location, and he took Jacarius Mitchell to Promise Hospital to receive treatment. He was later transported to Parkland Hospital, where he is currently in police custody. We will execute a warrant for capital murder on him today. We also received numerous tips as it related to the killing of Mr. Brown, and in that, we executed a search warrant at Mr. Brown's apartment where we confiscated 12 pounds of marijuana, 143 grams of THC cartridges, and $4,000 in cash. We have also issued capital murder warrants for the other 2 suspects, Michael Mitchell and Thaddeus Green. I want to assure the citizens of Dallas that we will continue to be transparent and we will provide updates as they materialize concerning this case. We as the police department need your help in capturing the 2 fugitives that are not in custody. We've partnered with our federal partners and we're in pursuit of them as I speak. If you know the whereabouts of these 2 suspects, please contact your local police department or the Dallas Police Department at 214-373-8477 or 214-671-3690. These suspects are to be considered dangerous because they're armed. Again, I want to thank you for coming out under such short notice. I thank you for trusting us to provide you with true and accurate information. I thank you, our community members, for partnering with us and believing in us as we pursue these fugitives. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my detectives. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They are the most talented, dedicated, committed detectives in the country. They are currently still in Louisiana pursuing the suspects. As you know, there's been speculation and rumors that have been shared by community leaders claiming that Mr. Brown's death was related to the Amber Geiger trial and somehow the Dallas Police Department was responsible. I assure you that is simply not true. And I encourage those leaders to be mindful of their actions moving forward because their words have jeopardized the integrity of the city of Dallas as well as the Dallas Police Department.
All right, that is from Dallas Police. They've made 1 arrest and they're looking for 2 more suspects in the case. We're going to check in with Brooke Buford because 2 of those suspects may be headed towards Louisiana or are from Louisiana, and she's an anchor and the assistant news director at KALB, which is in Alexandria, Louisiana, with the latest.
Thanks, Vinny. We're still learning a lot of information about this case, specifically about those 3 suspects who we've learned really don't have much of a criminal history. We checked with the Rapides Parish Clerk of Court's office that covers the area of Cheneyville, which we're learning these 3 were from, and there's really not that much information. We do know that Thaddeus Green does have a small list of priors. He's actually supposed to be in court tomorrow for simple burglary. That case was supposed to go to a pre-trial tomorrow. He has another prior of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle in Rapides Parish, but that was dismissed in 2015. Michael Mitchell has a simple battery charge that was dismissed in 2015. And we don't have any information about Jacarius Mitchell, no priors that we could find in the Clerk of Court's office. Cheneyville, Louisiana is about a 4.5 hour drive from Dallas. It is a pretty easy route to get to. We're not sure how they knew Joshua Brown, but the information that we're getting from Dallas police is that Jacarius Mitchell said that when they met with Joshua Brown, that Thaddeus Green was actually the facilitator. Jacarius Mitchell tells police, according to police, that when he exited the vehicle, Brown ordered him to get back in and then shot him in the chest. He says then he heard 2 more shots and that Thaddeus shot Brown. Right now, we do know that one of them is in custody. The other two, they're still looking for. But again, this is all very new information, and we're still trying to hear from any family or friends of the three. Now, initially, that information came down from Dallas PD that this might have involved the Alexandria area. Cheneyville is only about a 25 or 30-minute drive from that area, and clerk of court records show that area as the most recent addresses. But still, a lot of information that we're trying to learn. Specifically how they even got in contact with Joshua Brown and what they were doing there in the first place. Other than that, one more thing I do want to mention about the priors, as we just said, there's no prior drug offenses that we could find, and those charges that we listed are not violent felonies. Back to you.
All right, Brooke Buford, KALB in Alexandria, Louisiana tonight. Now, when the Dallas PD was talking, they were talking about local leaders were speaking out, and one of them is Lee Merritt. You may recall Lee Merritt represented the family of Botham Jean during that trial. He now represents the family of Joshua Brown. So he has tweeted a couple times. I want to read a couple of those so you get some of the reaction and the way the family of the victim, Josh Brown, is thinking tonight. First, Lee Merritt sent this out. DPD has made an arrest in the case involving the slaying of Joshua Brown. Chief Hall will hold a press conference at 1 p.m. This is obviously before the press conference. I continue to urge Dallas PD to recuse themselves from this investigation. The reliability of any arrest or prosecution will be undermined by their involvement. Then, afterwards, he also sent this out. This is a statement from the family of Joshua Brown. On behalf of the family of Joshua Brown, this office encourages the Dallas Police Department to turn over this murder investigation to an alternate investigative agency. This family and their representatives have consciously avoided speculating about law enforcement involvement in this tragedy. However, due to the proximity of this murder with the trial of Amber Geiger, rumors abound. It will be nearly impossible to conduct a reliable investigation in a climate where the investigating agency has been implicated in the murder itself. That implication naturally stems from a trial where a Dallas police officer was convicted of murder and other DPD officers were shown to have participated in condemnable behavior in destroying evidence and interfering with the investigation. It is important for everyone involved that this case not only be solved, but the conclusions arrived to by investigators be seen as authentic and reliable. A cloud of suspicion will rest over this case until steps are taken to ensure the trustworthiness of the process. The Brown family would like to extend their heartfelt gratitude to everyone around the country that has offered them support and encouragement during their time of bereavement. So there you got it from police, a report from Louisiana, and the thoughts of the family of Joshua Brown tonight. Let me bring back in my think tank with me here and get your thoughts and your reaction to what's happening. Tiffany.
Well, I think that the Dallas Police Department is making sure that they cover their tracks, and they gave so much detail, which I don't agree with, because you bias people before a jury is selected and putting out all this information. But I think they are trying to convey that they did their job this time around. They got it right. They have investigated thoroughly, and they're continuing to investigate. And that's why he read the entire thing, because I said, why so much detail with this? But they're trying to show the public that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're following protocol with this investigation.
Dallas police and the community, that relationship was crucial to the Amber Geiger case and the aftermath. So should they recuse themselves from this investigation?
If it wasn't Joshua Brown, this would just have been another case of a bad drug deal gone bad. The scene of this particular murder was even totally different from the apartment complex where Amber Geiger lived. So what they're saying, I mean, to link these two particular things, it's just going to inflame the community. So I'm trying to see, I think those tweets, those comments by Merritt and by the family of Joshua Brown are pretty prudent. I mean, maybe it's too close, it's too painful, and maybe Dallas Police Department should recuse themselves because DPD was so intimately involved in the Amber Geiger trial, and that one of their own has just been convicted of murder. And Joshua Brown was in that trial. I mean, he
For the
was,
prosecution,
For the
absolutely.
prosecution. I mean, I think it's prudent.
I agree. And not just that, but I think it's important to note, when you watch that press conference, it's almost, as a defense attorney, you know, if I was representing one of the people who had been alleged to have murdered Mr. Brown, that whole press conference does nothing but help my case. And I think it hurts the prosecution. And I think it's important to point that out, that the Dallas PD is almost putting themselves ahead of the case by putting up, because the point of that press conference was to cover themselves, right? That was the whole point of that press conference.
Others would say transparency.
No, because the way that they phrase everything during that press conference, they did this, they did that. It's not that they allegedly did this, not that the accused did this. This is what happened. But I didn't see a video. I don't see any testimony. I mean, they put him on trial during that press conference without any specific, I mean, you don't know where that information comes from. I didn't see it. Did you? Other than, you know, their word. And I think that's at trial here already because they haven't recused themselves from this investigation. I think they should have.
All right, when we come back, more to talk about, more fallout from the trial, including your reaction on social media to what happened today with Joshua Brown. And Judge Kemp speaks. We'll hear what she has to say after the hugs and the Bible and everything else that happened inside the courtroom after the sentencing of Amber Guy.
For more than 150 years, Brinks has been trusted with keeping your money safe. Now, Brinks introduces the Brinks Prepaid MasterCard to help protect what matters most to you. When security matters most to your family, you can trust Brinks.
Managing a family is a big responsibility.
They rely on us, and we rely on Brinks.
When having confidence that your money is safe matters most, Brinks can help. And integrity and trust are hallmarks of Brinks' heritage.
I trust Brinks to help me do the right things with my money. And my family trusts me.
When getting paid faster matters most, you can trust Brinks' direct deposit. Get your paycheck or government payments up to 2 days faster.
Direct deposit puts our money in our hands faster than a paper check.
And Brinks helps us spend responsibly. We can track our purchases and pay bills online.
The Brinks difference? All the simple to use budgeting tools that make us better at managing our money.
And doing a better job gives us peace of mind.
Call now or go online to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. When having control of your money matters most, you can trust Brinks. Just load money onto your card account or use direct deposit. Shop at your favorite stores or online, pay bills, buy groceries.
With Anytime Alerts, I get a text message every time I use my card, so I can keep track of my balance.
Call now or go online to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order. And with a qualifying direct deposit, we'll upgrade you to Brinks Preferred, including a savings account that can earn up to a 5% annual percentage yield. Even choose your card design. Now it's your turn to experience the Brinks difference. Get paid up to 2 days faster with Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. Get the peace of mind you deserve with MasterCard's zero liability protection. For more than 150 years, Brinks has helped people build better lives by protecting what matters most. Call right now to order your Brinks Prepaid MasterCard. Call 1-800-807-3725. There's no cost to order. Call now.
Let the back-breaking struggle begin. The toughest job of the year is back. But this year, you can have the advantage with the amazing Cyclone Rake. The Cyclone Rake is the all-in-one property cleanup machine that turns fall cleanup into a ride in the park. It hitches to your riding mower and easily vacuums and mulches anything on the ground. In a few easy hours, you can do the work of a 5-man crew, taking your yard from this to this. And most amazing of all, when you're done, the Cyclone Rake folds up flat and hangs right on the wall. It takes no more storage space than a push mower. Backed by the best warranty in the industry and the unmatched Cyclone Rake 1-year money-back guarantee, there's nothing to lose but all those leaves. Make this the year you turn autumn into your favorite season. Call today to order or to get your free information kit, or go to CycloneRake.com. Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched over 1,200 annuities and summarized the rates and benefits of annuities from financially strong insurers. Again, that's annuity do's and don'ts for baby boomers and a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free, for calling Annuity General today. Supplies are limited. Call now.
Call 800-754-0927. That's 800-754-0927.
As you know, there's been speculation and rumors that have been shared by community leaders claiming that Mr. Brown's death was related to the Amber Geiger trial and somehow the Dallas Police Department was responsible. I assure you that is simply not true. And I encourage those leaders to be mindful of their actions moving forward, because their words have jeopardized the integrity of the city of Dallas as well as the Dallas Police Department.
So there's Dallas PD earlier today talking about the murder of Joshua Brown, and they believe they have solved the case. 3 suspects, 1 in custody, 2 more that they are looking for tonight. That's part of the fallout from the Amber Geiger trial. There is some more that I want to talk about tonight, and that is Judge Kemp. As you recall, Judge Kemp, at the end of the case, when it was all over, jury's gone, case is done, steps down from the bench, comforts the family of Botham Jean, and then goes over and brings a Bible to Amber Geiger, reads the Bible to her, gives her the Bible, and then when Amber Geiger asks for a hug, she gives her a hug. Well, she spoke about that moment. Let's take a listen.
All I can say is I do consider myself a Christian. We're all God's creation. I didn't look at Amber Geiger as a white woman who killed a black man. I looked at her as a person accused of murder. Botham Jean was the alleged victim and wholly innocent in what had happened. But after everything was done, I looked at Amber Geiger and I saw someone who was hurting deeply and someone who had made an inquiry about God. And I thought it was my responsibility as a Christian person to extend to her love and compassion. And that's all I tried to do. And I don't think anybody would have refused her a hug had she asked it of them.
In that moment.
In that moment.
All right, I've got the think tank with me. My point on all this is she got 10 years. She'll be out in her late 30s. She's going to have a life, and I think she has a better chance at a better life as a result of what Judge Kemp did. Your thoughts?
I applaud Judge Kemp for her feelings, but she had the robe on. She has to be a neutral, detached party in that courtroom. And if she wanted to give Amber Geiger a Bible, if she wanted to give Amber Geiger a hug, maybe it should have been done outside the presence of the camera.
I 100% agree. I mean, I understand it, maybe hug the family of the victims, but to go down and hug the person who just was found guilty, it's too much. And again, the cameras are on her. She's in the middle of a courtroom. She's wearing the robe. It's not the right place to do it. If she wants to send it to her in prison. Here's your Bible, and here's a nice letter. But to do it in open court, I think the image is all wrong.
Right. I mean, it's like hugs for everybody. I'm going to give everybody a hug. And I think with judges, you have a responsibility to make sure that there's no impropriety shown. And if you're not hugging every defendant that comes in there and that's convicted, then why is this person so special? And then she's like, well, I had to give her a hug. You did not have to give her a hug because you never should have been down there in the first place. She should have stayed on the bench, and she could have still given her encouraging words from the bench. And she could still convey compassion from the bench. But no, she chose otherwise, and I think it was just too much for TV. And maybe she did it for TV optics, but it was just too much.
That's not Judge Kemp. Everything that I've learned about Judge Kemp, it has nothing to do with optics or anything. It has to do with a Christian woman.
I don't think she was trying to hog the media. I don't think she was doing that. This was pure love and